Can you imagine in 2012 going to people and businesses saying, I will solve all your business problems using AI? And now, of course, we go to those same companies and you can't solve any problem unless you say you have AI. AI is going to change the global GDP by 10 to 15%. Last time that happened was when internet was in play or computers came into being.
Welcome to the Las Vegas IT podcast. And today I have the pleasure to speak to Dilip, who is with Sutra.ai. Super excited to get to know him a little bit better today. How are you doing today, Dilip?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Could you just tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your organization?
Certainly, so I have had a chance to build, scale, and exit a few companies in tech and software and AI world. So I started my first company in basement in Troy, Michigan, and that scaled from zero to over 100 million in revenue over 15 years. I still chair and co-own the company with my partner called Netlink. Started my first AI company in 2012 when AI was a bad word. Can you imagine in 2012 going to people and businesses saying, I will solve all your business problems using AI? And now, of course, we go to those same companies and you can't solve any problem unless you say you have AI. That company scaled and I exited out to 3 private equity companies from New York. Since then, I've been mentoring, investing, and building great AI businesses. My latest venture, as you mentioned, is Sutra.ai, which is a data to value, fully orchestrated AI platform focused on mid-market companies.
What brought you to AI since it was really not a well-known thing until, it's been around, as you know, for a while. But what brought you to AI since it wasn't really something that most people were really getting into?
Absolutely. A great question. So in 2012, mind you, I had some experience at University of Michigan and, doing some programming and work for drones, which was like in 1992, and they were not called drones. They were called flying robots. Yeah. So I'm really dating that information, but we still use some ideas, some algorithms to make sure they're positioned right and so forth. So conceptually, I understood AI, but it was still in universities, right? It was still a concept and a tech for research work. In 2012, when I went from CEO to chair of my previous company, Netlink, I found that there may be an opportunity to try the data and AI ideas in business world. And I did some experimentation. I actually purchased one of consulting companies, and for their customers, we tried some ideas using AI. And trust me, I truly believe everybody should first become an AI believer before you start actually walking the AI journey. And I had to become an AI believer myself. But when we tried few things using AI in 2012, and that business was in the procurement space, helping companies buy better, we surprised ourselves. We thought it'll have few $100,000 ROIs, and he suddenly turned into millions of dollars of ROI for the businesses we were supporting. And once we saw that kind of value creation, of course, I went from, I really like AI to, oh my God, there's a great opportunity to do something. And then we went all in and built out that business and that exited in 2019.
Got it. And so when you say become an AI believer, how do businesses become an AI believer?
Yeah, so we all on one side hear all the hype and news and feeds about how AI is going to either rule humanity or solve world hunger. And that's definitely a potential and things to be both excited about and concerned about. But on the other side, when you look at businesses are still reluctant, right? They still think that AI is something in distance that they will deal with as and when that becomes mature. So the way to become an AI believer is, in my mind, two things. Number one, understand the kind of impact AI is going to have on businesses, not 2 years from now. And I'll go into that in a second. And second is you need to get your hands dirty. Actually go ahead and try some things on simple tools like ChatGPT or Gemini for your business. Of course, be cautious of your security and privacy of your data. But if you can try it, you may realize whatever you were thinking AI could do, it can do so much more, and it can do it now. And I'll give you two examples here. On a macro level, Shaytoya, AI is going to change the global GDP by 10 to 15%. Last time that happened was when internet was in play, or computers came into being, or before that electricity came into being for us as a human race. Fast forward, today that is AI. The only difference is what took internet to create 25 years, AI is going to create the same global impact in terms of GDP increase and value in 5 years, 7 years. So it's a very consequential technology of our lifetimes, and I think, maybe of all human times, according to the NVIDIA CEO. So if you understand that kind of impact will change everything for business, that's one way to become macro believer. But the only real way to become a believer is you go in and realize, oh my God, in my business, I can close my books from 2 weeks down to 2 days. I can go and save millions of dollars on my procurement and do so with very limited investment. But start with things that you touch and feel.
Got it. And you said that one of the things that I did hear you say is that, it's going to come very quickly of the changes that's going to happen. Can these businesses stay ahead when it comes to AI?
So two perspectives to consider there. One, a lot of those changes are already here, right? So the great opportunity is to leverage those changes for your businesses to move forward. And step one always is you know to go and take a tool, take a platform, and start trying things within your business. Because unless you understand the kind of impact these tools and technologies and platforms can create in AI for you, it will be hard to plan any strategies around it. I always recommend to business owners and leaders that don't create great strategy and then implement AI. It's better to be very tactical with AI first, learn enough, become a believer, and then create a longer term strategy for your business. And because the technology has now matured so well, and there are great platforms and tools out there, you can adopt those tools or sequence of those tools to stay ahead and create value for your business.
Understood. So you're saying as you're building these systems, you should involve AI. And one of the things that you did mention is the importance of security. How can a business protect their business while implementing these systems?
It's very true. In the world of AI, the data security, the privacy, the compliance, these things are somewhat of a black box today, right?
Mhm.
So clearly, on one side, most businesses have learned do not put your financial information or confidential information on ChatGPT. That's just not a good thing. But on the other hand, you have to allow your team members to experiment with tools like ChatGPT so they can become a believer. So I would answer that question in three layers. Hey, number one, have a very simple policy about where your data can be uploaded or not, so that people trying these tools on their own understand that they have to be very cautious and careful. Number second layer is provide your team members with an environment or a platform where they can experiment in a private, secured data and company environment. And of course, Sutra.ai is one of such platforms for mid-market. And the next level is that you be very cautious when you work with outside vendors, that they can't learn on your data. They are here to provide you a solution, but they should not be working and learning from your data, because your data certainly is your data and that everybody knows. But what many of the businesses miss is the intelligence that is embedded in that data is also your IP. And that should not be easily shared with other vendors who will then learn and resell the solution to other players, even competitors in some case. So this three layer approach, I think, can give you a lot of comfort. Now, there are great tools to ensure compliance. There are great AI agents who make sure the boundaries are set well for you to manage that, and you can explore some of those as well.
Awesome. And then earlier you did mention the companies that you serve is mid-sized companies. Could you
Mhm.
just share us exactly what does that mean to you?
So companies between 10 million and, let's say, billion plus minus is how I would define mid-market in US. And those companies have a unique challenge and a very unique opportunity, right? So there was a recent article out from, I think it was Harvard Business Review, talking about mid-market companies have the opportunity to compete with big guys because AI has leveled the playing field. But the mid-market companies cannot hire 40 people and spend $100 million a year in AI budget just to try things out. That's just not practical. So they have to take advantage of this opportunity. And the way to do it is to find a platform that allows you to quickly engage without making these prohibitive investments. And it is end to end in supporting their AI framework and their need. And one last comment on mid market is I talk to probably 300 C-level executives, owners in mid market around the world every year in my speaking engagements and in my coaching, mentoring, investing sessions. And common theme, great desire on one end to do something with AI, and great understanding that it can create tremendous value. But how do I cross that chasm? That's always been a big challenge. And I think platforms like Sutra.ai can certainly help there.
Understood. And then when it comes to Sutra.ai, could you just kind of share us a little bit more exactly what does it do, from possibly and the difference of, a lot of us have heard of ChatGPT. Like what's the difference?
So Shaytoya, ChatGPT, Gemini, Midjourney, these are all great AI tools. But businesses can't use AI tools to create results. They need AI solutions to do so. So this tool to solution difference is a critical paradigm that we have to understand. And Sutra.ai is a AI platform solution for businesses. And it is based on some of my patents. And what we are able to do there is we are able to go from ingesting data, and most of the time it is not good data, right? I have not run into a single company who has good data yet, but the AI agents actually clean the data, connect that data to whatever data is available in open source in the world if we need it, create synthetic data where there are gaps using AI agents. Then, secondly, take that AI data and actually solve your business problems, creating AI projects. And on the other side, once these problems are solved, then you can actually use those projects. It tracks exact hard and soft dollar value, and most of this work is happening through AI agents in the background. So business users can engage with it very easily. Of course, tech users can go as deep as they want, but we can democratize the use of AI, and again, making everybody an AI believer by making the whole process very business user centric and not an AI user centric.
Understood. And so would you say with the agent that is more kind of like an assistant to assist your business instead of just providing data? Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So, I mean, an agent is, any kind of let's call it really an AI component which can do a task for you, a repetitive task for you. And then theoretically, agents can do every task that even requires cognitive thinking, but that technology is not mature yet. It's not real. But if you need certain repetitive tasks like billing in your organization done, an agent can do that. If you want to do a three-way match of your invoices, AI agents can do that. And that is the capability of AI agents and AI in general to solve these lot of variable, complicated, repetitive tasks. What Sutra AI has done is we have created the agents who make people who don't understand AI to be able to use it in a very simple manner, right? And Shaytoya, one of the great reasons AI is going to have such a impact on our world is it doesn't require you or I to learn AI to use it. We literally can converse with it. We can ask questions and it provide knowledge and context. So Sutra has embedded all of that in the background. So any user, especially business users who don't understand AI, can leverage it and actually get to an outcome, which is almost impossible today. You have to have a large teams who have to all come together to do this work. But it also allows, technical users to go much deeper and business users to just use the AI agents to go from start to end.
Understood. And so would you say that when it comes to the agent, that they're the ones that are kind of like reviewing the data and then there'd be someone else who would possibly, approve that data? Is that kind of what I'm
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you nailed and probably pointed out one of the most critical components of agents. Please do not leave them alone. We want all the agents to be autonomous, but humans have to govern it. Today's technology does not allow you to get to the level where you leave them by themselves. I strongly encourage team members to go ahead and take the output of that, let's say in this case, data agent or output of an agent, which is saying, okay, these invoices need to be paid. You need to put human governance on it, at least check off like yes, no, yes, no. Good news is if you say no, it learns for the next time and it does get better over time.
Mhm.
But yeah, totally a believer in not letting AI agents be completely autonomous yet.
Yet? I guess that's the big word,
Yeah.
yet. And what are some, I know you mentioned billing. What are some other cool things that an AI agent can help you with?
So I'll give you examples on the kind of value and problems, value being generated and the problems that customers are solving using Sutra.ai. So clearly, we already talked about one, like data is usually a very messy situation, structured, unstructured, good, bad, missing data. The data you may need doesn't even exist in your organization. So you have to either get that data or create synthetic data. So that is one easy but more technical use case or project for a business to get their data AI ready or data ready for any business requirements they have. Other actual business related problems that AI agents and Sutra.ai are solving for their customers. I'll start with functional things. So in finance, you can go from billing, you can do three-way match. If you get really great, you can do a lot of compliance elements, you can do cost recovery. You can combine all of these and start pushing the closing of your books from weeks after the month end to days after month end. And these are not theoretical things, these are things which are happening today. And Sutra.ai works with ERP, so you don't have to rip or replace. It is incremental to what you already have. You go to manufacturing company, you can do scheduling leveraging AI much better than you can do using humans. So great example is going from 4 weeks of a person's time to keep doing scheduling down to 4 hours every week. And that's also to govern and freeing up their time to do much higher order things like discussing things with customers, partners, people on the shop floor to make these things better. You can create value in preventive maintenance for a manufacturing. I've seen people take advantage of AI to understand, hey, what part should I build? What is the profitability of that part? And then also manage the demand from customers. If you're a financial services company, of course, data is a great opportunity to improve there. You have an opportunity to leverage AI to create demand generation for your financial services. You have an opportunity with AI to just be better at customer support. One of the companies that Sutra AI supports, their human managers now are able to in real time advise their customers on what to do and increase both value to the customer and their own revenue. So the possibilities are unlimited. I mean, almost think you can AI everything, but you have to be cautious that, hey, whatever you start with or whatever you start executing, on one side, it should have great value. And on the other side, make sure the complexity is something you understand. So if you take on a project where value is low and complexity is too high, that's a hobby project. It'll never get done. Sooner or later, you'll have pushback from other stakeholders.
Understood. Thank you for sharing that. And as a lot of times we're doing a lot of construction projects. And so with an AI agent, what came to mind for myself is blueprints. Is there a way for your AI agent to assist you with reading blueprints so then that way that the estimator can go in and just like review it very quickly? Is that a thing that they're currently doing?
Yeah, certainly that's in construction. That's a great project to take on, and you'll be surprised how well you can ingest just a blueprint and both mark it up, help the estimation part of it. And can you imagine historically what has happened in the business if you don't have one blueprint, but hundreds of blueprints that you go through and you kind of feed AI with it? It can certainly do marking, even do a lot of estimation based on your rate card and what you may have already in the works. It can also provide some risk elements,
Hmm.
saying in today's world, right, with this type of a customer, this pricing is better, right? It can continue to add layers to it where you don't have to, again, I know construction, a lot of requests come in and you're estimating things, and we don't want to spend a lot of human time on low probability of closing estimation. So you can decide, hey, this is a great client. We want to spend more time here. This one will let AI do more. But the short answer is yes, you can do project management, right? You can do facilities management, like, if you have apartment building and you're doing construction, you use project management side of AI. If you're maintaining the tenants in the building, you can do the tenant management. You can do investor management. Everything I'm telling you, this is something I've experienced. I'm seeing this happen today for companies in the world of construction. And so again, there's unlimited opportunity, but you have to start small and become believer, show your finance leaders real ROI, and then scale.
Understood. And then when you say start small, exactly like, I guess what should be the first focus when implementing AI?
So if we talked about construction, I think you know the use case you mentioned is like estimation and coding is easy. Nothing is easy. It's easy because I've seen it in action so many times, but it may take some reps and ideas and time to mature that within an organization. But that's a great start because you can show real value at the end of it. And other thing you can start with is what I would call AI driven analytics, right? AI can start showing you what you may not be noticing in your business, right? And based on market data, based on benchmark data, based on your internal behavior of the organization. So these are what I would call low hanging fruit in construction work, scheduling and billing. In any organization, manufacturing or otherwise, these are easy projects to take on. And remember, it's all about showing real hard dollar value so that others can kind of support you and not think of these as hobby projects.
Understood. And then when it comes to, you did one of the things, if you could just kind of share us a story that where your business saw, where you assisted someone with their ROI by empowering, these AI agents.
Yeah, certainly. So there is a business in Michigan. They are in manufacturing world, about $100 million in size. They started with scheduling. They took that as a low hanging project, and they started with data, just getting their data ready for use with AI and with their ERP systems. So, and they started with these two use cases, and now they are actually at 19 use cases that are implemented and 30 that they want to go after. And the way this process happened is they started with scheduling. From scheduling, they went to, hey, I want to understand what's the demand for this product from their customers. From there, they went on to saying, what's the profitability of my product by line, by part? And they have like 30,000 SKUs or part numbers in their system. And then they went to the customers and renegotiated pricing because they actually understood what they were producing, what the price was. And they also created newer products leveraging AI based on the components they already had, based on customer needs. They are on their way to double their profitability in 24 months, right? We're about 18 months in. And I say this to all businesses that if you are not targeting a significant, maybe double for a mid-market company of EBITDA, you're leaving money on the table. This is that powerful of a technology. And for companies who are not yet believers, I always share with them that, hey, what if your competitor actually achieves this and they have a cost structure which is like twice as strong or in terms of or lower than you? What happens 3 years from now when you're competing with them? Can you afford to wait that long? So I think there is some urgency. We don't need to just stop everything else and just do that. That's not what I'm recommending. But getting your hands dirty, start showing some value to yourself today and not next year is important.
Understood. And then also, I do know from the information that you did share with us, you did build your, your first big company from a basement, which I believe, a lot of us do, if it's from the garage or a basement, with only $2,000. What pivoted that leadership lessons that you helped you scale to your business to where is that today?
Shaytoya, we did start with me and my co-founder from my basement in Troy, Michigan. And the parallel story is my wife and I went from two income and no kids within 3 years of that to two kids and no income.
Mm.
So you do go through a process and a journey. It all sounds glamorous now. It was slightly different when we were going through it. It was still exciting, great, but had a little bit more emotional burden. And then you learn through those steps two things. Firstly, no one person can do everything, right? You do carry the emotional burden of the business as a founder, but you need a team of great stakeholders around you. That be management team, that would be your supporters, could be board members, it could be people who are actually executing things in the business. And that is critical. And I learned that lesson almost too late in my life. I made every mistake possible. And that's, I think, one critical lesson. And second thing is that, sometimes it takes time to build things, and you have to be patient about the larger business and you have to be impatient about smaller things in the business. So you have to balance both of those things in play. But we went from two of us in the business. So now I think business has 6,000 people today.
Mm.
And just it's great to see great people contributing and doing great things for that business.
Yeah, no, and that's so amazing to hear a story like that. And then one of the things that you did mention was, I guess, knowing, I believe, if I heard you right, you had mentioned like knowing, like, I guess, taking those risks or knowing, like, and I'm trying to get this question to come out correctly, but just the importance of, like, okay, like, I guess, understanding the balance of the risk. But I guess, how do you know if you should just keep going or if it's time to, I guess, to quit? Hopefully that question makes sense. It kind of just came to my mind.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a fantastic question because even I tease my PR teams. So if you look at my background or the history, they've done a great job of making it look like, oh my God, it's scaled and things happen. But that's all in retrospect, right? Like when you're actually going through it, it isn't that. The storytelling is different when you're going through it. So to me it's fun. It's like, hey, do you believe in the business, right? And so if you believe in the concept and the business, I think I would always recommend you stay with it. But second thing, you have to also have the stakeholders of advisors around you who can say that, hey, yeah, what you believe in business is great, but it can help one person, right? Well, something that'll help one person is a mentoring assignment. It is not a business in itself. So you have to understand that there is a big enough market that nobody else is addressing well, where what you believe in it can solve. So that's, I think, the starting point of it. And then second is, of course, you have to know the constraints around you. But and this may sound all very kind of soft and coy, but it is really the fundamental of what you feel inside is what should drive should you stay or quit. And I've seen great businesses not work out. I've seen nothing for things starting from nothing and do great things. And that belief is probably the fundamental thing. Other thing I want to add in today's world, Shaytoya, is in next 10 years, more millionaires and billionaires will be created than ever before. So you have 3,000 billionaires today. That will be 6,000, like doubling of it just the next 5 to 7 years in an AI world. So entrepreneurship in an AI world is a different play than it used to be even a few years ago. What took you millions of dollars of hundreds of thousands of dollars to start a business, you can start that now with few hundred, few $1,000s. So the leveling of the playing field is in as a big advantage for entrepreneurs. But please keep your mind open that in an AI world you can compete differently. And we go back to the same theme about becoming an AI believer. So those two things, believe and then take great advantage of this new AI world that you're operating in.
Understood. And then, going back to AI, when it comes to, you know, yes, AI is a thing, but if everyone's using it, how do you stay, I guess, competitive? Yes, you can be successful with AI, but if other people are also using it, how do you use it to your advantage?
So, the way I would approach that is in 5 to 7 years, that would be the case. Everybody would be doing it. But in next 5 to 7 years, there will be winners and losers. So whoever adopts it early and is practical about it, right? Like not as a hobby or, it is actual real value that you could create personally or for your business. I think they will be winners. And I spoke to university freshman kids, probably average age 17. And next week I spoke to the senior club in Michigan, average age 78. And you could see that kids were coming out of college. For them, this is normal, right? Like when they say use chat gpt for something, it's like that's not AI, that's like regular day-to-day work for them. When I asked this other group about, hey, like people didn't know what chat gpt is, and I'll go in the middle and give you another data point. I talked to CEOs, C-level owners around the world. Typically, it used to be like 5% a year ago. Now it's probably 20, 25% who have heard and do something with chat gpt. Even they haven't really dug deep, so the opportunity exists. The parity will come, but I think it's few years away. So time to take advantage of the opportunity for a business or an entrepreneur is now.
Understood. So you're saying, yes, 25% of businesses are using it, but they're not using it to the full advantage. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Certainly that's the case, and then there are many who are still probably going to listen to this podcast and say, maybe I should consider that, right? And then there are people I talked to 2 years ago who are doubling their EBITDA already. So it's just, for me, it's so intriguing to see the adoption is highly valuable, but still not as quick as it probably should be.
Understood. And then the other question I did come to mind is, a company that's possibly looking to get an AI agent to assist them with their business. Maybe they're not a mid-sized business like the one that you're looking to, connect with. Where should they go?
So, firstly, if you're, and I'll say, if you're a really small company, there's a bunch of open source agents. If you have somebody in your team who can generally technically manage them, there's value to that. If you're a mid-sized company, I strongly recommend that you take a platform because it demystifies everything. Where you need an agent, don't need an agent from data to value. If you're a really large company, I mean, you have many options because you have larger budgets, you're spending millions of dollars a year. But start small there also. Like, no need to build the Taj Mahal and then see what happens. You need to start small and add to your current tech infrastructure. But you can literally ChatGPT's parent, OpenAI, Google Gemini, you have Facebook, you have Crew.ai, you have so many different companies who are providing you framework for agents. But please understand, if you start with a framework, it's long, expensive process to get to your first and then keep building on it. But if you're a large company, take these low-hanging fruit that we talked about, use a framework or a platform, and go solve the bigger issues in your business after the initial value.
Got it. Understood. And so when it comes to, like trends with AI, I'm sure it's ever changing. Are there any ways that you're currently staying up to the technology with it always changing with AI within AI?
Yeah. So my hack is actually use AI to help me with all of that, right? So I always try to take the second degree, second dimension on AI. So if somebody asks me, how do I keep it? I literally can tell ChatGPT, like, keep me posted. Tell me every day what's going on today. And it is amazing what it can tell you. And it actually can hone into what you want. You can even ask it more or do deeper somewhere in others. So that's the easiest way. Let's say if you have 5 minutes a day, that's the fastest way to get to it. But if you really want to go deeper and assimilate, I recommend like you go to an AI workshop, right? And where you want to actually have somebody on the other side who have gone through the process, go back and forth. And I know Sutra.ai does that regularly. They do an AI workshop to go specific opportunities. How would it work for the customer without, of course, any commitment, because this is a brainstorming session. So those two things I would do. I know I love sometimes geeky stuff. I'll go to Coursera and take a course on Gen AI or AI for everyone or a specific agent area that I'm interested in. I don't have to take an exam. I don't have to listen to every lecture. I just take what I like. But I think if you want to become an AI expert and stay on top of everything all the time, I think that's in my mind, not the goal you should aspire for. You should know enough and then apply in your personal life or business on the other side. I am deeply involved in this space and I can barely keep up. And I cannot keep up. So even I'm catching up, and the best of the best all face the same issue. So I highly recommend, don't set that goal for yourself, but 5 minutes a day, Chat GPT or Google Gemini, just ask it and you'll be surprised how good it is.
No, that's so awesome to hear. And, are there currently any books or podcasts that you're currently listening to?
So a book, I'm writing a book because I couldn't find a really good book for mid market, which actually gives you practical and real advice. And so that is podcast. There are many. I think New York Times has a podcast, which is actually very fantastic. Gives you a larger view, and I do listen to that once in a while. I also listen to podcasts which are actually, for my benefit, completely non AI related, so I can contrast how certain organization, businesses, nonprofit are still looking at the world in the way it used to be in 2022, 23, while things have moved. So that's it. And the book I'm currently reading and applying it to AI is called Scaling Up. And, so those are some of the areas that intrigue me.
Yeah, no, I can see the importance of that, making sure that you're staying up to date to what your customers are doing as well, or your
Yeah.
potential customers. I think that's super, super important.
Yeah.
And I
And
believe like,
Shaytoya, you remember, sorry to interrupt you,
oh,
like
you're fine.
whatever book is written, right? It takes a year plus to publish a book.
Hmm.
I mean, concepts, they all stay, but if it's specifics, don't matter because things would have changed by the time that book is in your hand. So books are harder now than they used to be.
No, and I'm sure. And then I've had someone on the podcast in the past say that a lot of times that they're looking at the older books of AI. I'm not sure if you agree with that as well.
I think they give you a clear, like if you're extrapolating, it gives you like how AI was like it went very slow and then suddenly became exponential. So like what will happen with AI agents? I know we all believe it's slow, but maybe it's, very quickly they will follow the same exponential thought process. So they're intriguing. I also love historical books when you talk about, hey, when electricity came to us as a race, when computers came. what happened to the culture, the human behavior, jobs, and how AI is going to follow or not follow the same pattern. So I do find that interesting.
I'm sure. I mean, if is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
No, I just reinforce the message, the time is now. Please get your hands dirty, try whatever you feel comfortable trying with AI tools, become a believer, and then use solutions to deliver real value for your business.
It's very important. And if our listeners are looking to reach out, how do they do that?
If they want to reach me, they can reach me at Dilip at dubey.ai. So that is dubey.ai. If they're interested in exploring what Sutra.ai can do for them, they can just go to Sutra.ai on the web and explore that.
Awesome. Well, today was a pleasure. And we'll be sure to put those in the links in the bio. But you have an amazing day. Thank you.
Joya, thank you for your time. Good to be here.
Of course. And don't go to referral.